Hi everyone, I am Talisha. So happy that we're here together. This is my friend Megan.
Hello.
A little backstory of me and Megan. We've known each other for
14.
We're going on 14 years.
I think 14 years.
Oh my gosh. I moved to California to do an internship at a church, and I met Megan. She was my first Californian friend.
Yes.
Time has flown by. Okay, feel old. So anyways, I have been on this journey, and this journey has been a process of healing. And through this journey, I've had supportive friends like my dear friend Megan that has been encouraging and really supportive through this journey of my divorce. So a little background real quick. Newlywed, going through a divorce. So I was married for 4 months, and unfortunately things did not work out in my relationship. So the part of grieving came up with a lot of anger, a lot of feeling betrayed, and also denial at one point. So I had to learn how to be tender and loving to myself and how to take care of myself. And part of that process has been journaling. Part of that process has been finding the things that I love to do, which is traveling, taking pictures. And also part of that process is just kind of sharing my journey through this whole trauma of a thing that's been happening.
Yeah.
So TLC, right? Tender love and care. So I decided, why not make a blog about those 3 letters and how to switch it up. So we're going to talk about transparency for T, and L, we're going to talk about love. All of us have different perspective and different understanding of what love is. So hopefully we get to listen to each other's different perspectives of love, and different stages of love, right?
Yeah. And
then for C, it's courage. That's something that I have been told that I have a lot of through this process, but also me as a person. And there's times for myself that I don't feel that I'm courageous. So I'm like, it gotta be God, right? Like, I don't know. It has to be him. So, transparency for T, love for L, and courage for C.
Yeah.
So, Meg.
Yes.
What do you think of transparency? What does that mean to you? What does that look like?
Well, one of the things I really appreciated about this blog is that you sent me these 3 words and then you told me to think about them. And to be honest about it, I felt like transparency, love, and courage, to define them, sometimes I think the definition can be so broad. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about and looked up online, like, okay, what's the definition of transparency?
Mm-hmm. Trying to figure out what Webster thinks, right?
Yes, exactly. And I actually really loved one of the ways they define it, and it's not perfect. I didn't memorize the quote for it, but basically it's to shine light through something so that what's beyond it or behind it can be distinctly seen. And as soon as I read it, I loved it, because I used to think about, as a kid, we would have these, like at school or at church. For me, we had these transparencies that had songs on them or graphs or whatever, and you had to slide it onto this light and it got projected up. And so as soon as I read that definition, I was like, that's exactly what it is being transparent, is so that light shines through something so that you can see what's beyond it or behind it. But then thinking about, how do you actually put that into your life?
Yeah, your real life, your everyday life.
Yeah, everyday life. And that's where I feel like I value transparency. I value it, and I love it and crave it. But I realize not everyone probably does, because it's super scary actually to be transparent.
Yeah, you gotta be vulnerable with that.
Oh, yeah. And it's scary. So I think transparency for me is, I love that definition, and I feel like actually going through this process with you has made me have a better understanding for myself of what does it mean to be transparent, and transparent with the people that I hold close. And you don't have to be see-through for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something I feel like I've had to learn in my own process, is that there's people you can hold close and they see through you, because you choose to allow them to. You allow light in, so that things aren't hidden. The other thing I thought about was like, why be transparent? And that for me, I had to go through this process of thinking, why do I love it so much? Like, what is it about being transparent that it's like being transparent and open is like a light, and I feel like a fly drawn to it. Like I crave it. I crave it in my relationships with people. The people I love the most are those who are transparent. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I feel like our friendship, I so love it and appreciate it. Is because I feel like we're able to be transparent with each other and just be open and honest and really vulnerable with each other in many ways.
Yeah.
Many ways.
Oh.
So
yeah. I guess my question too is, do you feel like transparency starts with you being transparent with yourself, being honest with yourself, and being that, well, you know, some of us lean on different things. Some of us lean on our faith in God, right? Yeah. To have those one-on-one moments. Yeah. But ideally, you don't have other people around you, right? So you have to choose, all right, am I going to be transparent right now with my feelings, with where I'm at right now? Yeah. Or do you feel like transparency is something that you have to practice with others?
Ooh, that's good.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like,
that's so good.
Which one do you feel like for you in particular?
I think it always starts with me first. It always starts with me first. And am I willing to really look at my own thoughts, my own actions, my own feelings? Am I willing to really look at those and figure out, how do I feel about this? What do I think about this? How do I want to move forward from it? Because there's a lot of times, honestly, I ignore it, or I'll think about it later. And that's something I feel like I've had to learn, is not thinking about it later, but recognizing I really feel this way about whatever it is, and realizing, okay, why? Why do I feel that way? Or where is this emotion coming from? And then having to be transparent with myself and really looking at and kind of searching out my heart. And I love what you said at the beginning of being a tender, loving, and caring towards yourself. And so I think even being transparent with myself, being tender with myself as I'm looking at, why do I feel that way? What's coming up? Yeah. And not beating myself up for it, but recognizing, that feeling really is in there. That anger really is in there. But why? Why is it there? And then how can I care for myself through it? And I feel like I think it always starts with me, because I'm not really being transparent with someone else if I don't even know what I'm showing them, right? And I feel like it's not real transparency unless I can evaluate and look at, okay, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling that way? And then if I want to, and if I choose to share that with someone else, I can. And
through my journey of this process of grief, right? I found myself having a lot of alone time. Yeah. And on purpose. Yeah. Like I had to really be transparent with myself. Talisha, you are sad. Yeah. Talisha, you are upset. Talisha, you are hurting, and being social right now is not the business. No. Starting with being transparent with yourself is that honesty, right? Yeah. And it's hard. I found it challenging, me doing that transparency with myself. Yeah. Because I was used to being surrounded by people. Yeah. And following their example. Yeah. And then I had to think, Talisha, you don't have to compare your circumstance, your transparency to someone else's way of acting out transparency. Yeah. You know, we all are our own person. We all go through grief in our own way. Yeah. And that was a learning thing for me. Yeah. Right? Because I'm just so used to having, as an educator, what are the steps? Right. Who can I follow? Like, what are examples, right? So people end up being models for you. Yes. And which that could be a good thing. Yes. But that can also be a place where you're trapped, where you can't help but to compare your situation, your circumstance to someone else. Yes. And I feel like the beauty of being transparent and having that light in your own self. Yes. And seeing all of the funk and the muck that you need to sort through. Yes. Is that you can literally say, my grieving process is different.
Yeah.
How I deal with it, it's different.
Yes.
And not only is it different, but it's okay.
Yeah. Part of transparency too is being able to love yourself
Mm-hmm.
and not judge yourself about what you find when you start putting light in there. Because sometimes, I know for me it's been surprising when I start looking through my own life, because I feel like a lot of times I don't feel like I'm an angry person, but I have gone through in the last few years these different experiences, and I found anger inside of me, and I was afraid to find anger because I didn't want to be an angry person, and I thought if I find anger inside of me, it makes me an angry person. But actually, no, I was angry, and I had right to be angry, but I didn't. You don't have to stay there either. So like, you don't have to set your tent there. You don't have to camp out there. You can walk through it, feel the anger, recognize, why do I feel angry? Was it injustice? Did I feel betrayed? I know that's something you had said. Walking through those things and recognizing how I got there.
Right.
And then dealing with that instead of doing that. Anyway, so I feel like your way that you were talking about that comparison, I feel like it's just not even worth it.
Example. Take two. As human beings, we can't help but to compare. And I think it's just the society that we are in, right? You're comparing yourself to the images you see of people on social media. Hey, what's up? How you doing? You're comparing yourself to your peers.
Yeah.
You know, being, you know, a woman in your 30s, you can't help but to compare yourself to, you know, the women who are 25 to 36, because either they're married or they're engaged or they have kids or they finished their like 3 degrees and you're like struggling. Okay, I'm struggling. All right, I'm struggling. And you can't help but to compare. Yeah. So it is finding again that love within yourself, loving where you're at. So we're gonna dive into love.
Perfect.
So love where the comes and goes, but few people really know what it means to really love somebody. Oh, love. Kurt Franklin. What y'all know about that? Anyways, I was like 19, like 98, maybe 2000. Anyways, sidetrack. Love, Love. Whew, this is a big one for me.
It's huge. It's huge.
This is a big one.
Yeah.
Because with me going through a divorce, this is what my mom said. She might be mad that I'm putting that out there, but it is what it is. Deal with the consequences later. So she said, Talisha, one of my fears are that because of this divorce and because of this hurt that you're going through, that you will not fall in love again.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that hurts a little bit. But more of like, I didn't think about that. You know, because I am hurt. I was betrayed.
Yeah.
And I am in my feelings. I'm entitled to be in my feelings because this is a crappy situation to be in. I would not wish this on anyone.
Yeah.
However, I loved being in love with my husband.
Yeah.
And I love loving on people.
Yes.
And I do believe this is who God has made me to be.
Yeah.
And the only way I found that out is through experiencing how to love myself and love where I'm at.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the challenging part for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Loving is accepting, right?
Yeah.
Love is also a verb.
Yes.
It's not a noun. So a verb, it's an action, right?
Yes.
So I am actively accepting and actively appreciating all the things that are happening in my life right now, despite the struggle, despite the pain.
Yeah.
I have to love myself first.
Yeah.
And be active in that. That's making a choice every day when I wake up. Today I'm choosing that this is going to be a good day.
Yeah.
I may not be happy through all of it.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But I'm choosing to reflect how my day went, what the actions that I've done.
Yeah.
But it takes that nurturing and that care for yourself.
Yes.
And I had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
it wasn't something that came naturally.
No. And I think it's something that develops over time. At least for me, I feel like there's times where I take the time to love myself, and then I'm okay with myself, and I feel like I work through a lot of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm good, I'm in a good place. And then I stop doing it because I'm in a good place, and I don't recognize the need for it when I'm in that good place. And then things start building up, and I start feeling different ways, and I push things to the side, and I'm not transparent with myself and loving with myself, and then I have to do the process again. And I feel like I have to constantly practice it. It's not something for me that doesn't come naturally. 2 is uncomfortable, and I have a hard time slowing down and treating myself that way on a consistent basis, and then learning to love myself with the new things that pop up. I went to this conference recently, and one of the speakers, it was this big church conference, and one of the speakers was talking about love, and this phrase, and I don't know if he quoted it from someone else, but the phrase that he used, I felt like it was like a tidal wave inside of me. Like I felt like it went boom and resonated inside of me. But he talked about to be fully seen, fully known, and fully loved.
Ooh, say that again.
Woo! Fully seen, fully known, and fully loved. And he talks about that's how, and he does a contrast too, where he talks about to be fully seen but not fully known, and then fully known but not fully loved, and the whole process. But for me, I feel like that's what love is. Love is that point where you are fully seen, so that transparency goes straight on through.
Yeah.
And then you're fully known, so it's like this process of the anticipation and being loved and accepted where you're at, and fully loved, that just full embrace of all of the mess, all of the good points, all of the strengths, and just the whole bag, just being fully loved. And so that's something for me that, do I do that for myself? Even this conversation is good. I feel like, am I doing that for myself, where I'm being transparent, fully known, fully looking at myself, fully seen, fully known? And am I fully loving myself where I'm at, and not expecting myself to be 5 steps down the road, or healed already, or through the grief, or whatever, but just right where I'm at? And then do I do that for other people? So am I listening to them? Am I just letting them kind of go through their process? And am I listening, and not just hearing them,
Right.
but actually listening to what they're saying, and then being able to ask questions in a way that is about them finding their own process and loving them through their process.
Yes. I'm going to have you hold on that thought. Listening is key.
Yeah.
It is key because, for example, we are so wired to fix someone's situation, or even fix your situation right away.
Yes.
But we're not listening to what is being said and what the process is that this person is going through to tell you what's going on with their life. Right? And we're not listening to the pain. We're just listening. We're just hearing the words. And while they're talking, we're hearing a couple words, and we're trying to register in our head, okay, have I been through this again? Like, have I been through this? How can I help? Which is good intent. But sometimes you just need to shut up and let the person say and go through this process of sharing with you and listen to where their heart is. And I feel like also with ourselves. Right? This is why it's important, people, to have mentors. To have I call them mentor friends as well. Because these are friends who are your peers that you're kind of going through life with. And it's really important to have that as well, because you guys can bounce each other's thoughts and process off of each other, but you're not trying to fix each other. And if a mentor is doing it well, your mentor is not leading you to their story, but hopefully leading you on in terms of to God. If you believe in God, it's really important that you have a higher power that's directing you and leading your spirit to have growth and to have a change, right? But if a mentor is making you codependent on them and their actions and what they're telling you to do only, cut that mentor off. So, listen. Goes hand in hand with loving. And I think back to like what my mom said, that fear, right? And I really do believe that my mom listened to my response.
Absolutely.
Because she knows she knows me.
Yeah.
She's one of the key people that really do know me.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I think she was just listening to her thoughts and fears and insecurity of her beautiful only child. Aww. Just struggling and hurting, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you brought up listening. I think it's really key to loving.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
When you have a companion, when you have a spouse, when you have a friendship.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that person wants to know that you are listening to them and that their voice have been heard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. Anything else on love?
I was thinking about that process of listening to people. They had said that, I've heard it said that people that go to counseling, a lot of times they go to counseling because, and I'm all for counseling. I've been through counseling myself, love it. This is not a dig on counseling at all. But a lot of people go to counseling because they just need someone to listen to them. And if we as friends would just take time to listen, a lot of times you get to work out your own thoughts and your own, like where places you get stuck. You get to work a lot of those out just by having someone listen to you and give you honest feedback, but not trying to fix you. I love that you said it's not coming up with your own conclusions. How can I fix this? How can I fix this? But instead just listening to the process. And I think when I slow down and I stop trying to fix people around me and I just listen to them, a lot of times I find like their process helps unhook me in places that I'm hooked, that I'm stuck, that I didn't even know I was stuck on. And hearing them and helping them process, it like unhooks pieces in me, and I think, oh my gosh, I do the same thing. I didn't even realize. And so it's healing for that person who needs to be heard, but it's also healing for the person who does the listening too. So this is actually healing pieces of me as I'm just loving them.
Yeah.
I feel things start clicking together.
Which leads me to this. We're not meant to do life alone.
No.
We're not meant to experience love alone.
No.
We need
people. Yeah.
We need people.
Yeah.
And there are different versions of love.
Yeah.
But I think what is consistent in love is that we need each other.
Yeah.
We need people to experience it, to grow in it, and to really help us heal through a lot of things. We need people to love on us, and also to love on others, to help us heal.
Absolutely. Because love isn't just a siloed individual thing. It's like, how can you know love or experience love or give love without a recipient or without someone who gives it to you? Because it has to be between two, either you and God, you and another person. I feel like even you and a pet, like even like there has to be another person or body, another entity that you're interacting with to experience that and to give that. Yeah. It has to be in a community. It has to be with people. Yeah. Has to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Awesome. So now our final word. Courage. Courage. What does that look like to you, Megan? What is courage? Do you feel like you are a courageous person?
Ooh, I feel like I have moments of courage. Moments of bravery.
Like now?
Yes! Doing this vlog is a moment of courage and bravery. I feel like courage is something that... so there's this phrase or this quote that I love. And I wrote it down because I was like, I don't want to forget it. Because this is... I feel like courage oftentimes, I feel like it's in comparison with fear a lot of times. And so I've heard it said like courage is the absence of fear, and I feel like no, it totally is not. It absolutely isn't actually the absence of fear, because it doesn't erase fear. Fear's still there. So the quote that I love, and I honestly don't know who said it, and I tried to research who said it because I thought it was like Churchill, but I can't find out who it really is. But it says this. It says, courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act in the presence of fear.
Boom.
I know. And I love it because I feel like that is what it is. Because it doesn't mean that fear disappears.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of times I feel like fear gets louder. And you have to choose to be like, I'm walking through it. I'm going to walk straight through fear. And I think that's something for me that I really had to grow in, because fear used to, I feel like, control my life. And I would make that whole thing about transparency and I want freedom. Fear was one of those things, those outside sources that I felt like was trying to control me. And so in order to get freedom, I had to be transparent. Why do I feel afraid? What am I afraid of? And start dealing with those questions. And then when I recognized that, I felt like, oh, that's fear. And fear, have you guys ever seen Mulan? And Mushu is a little dragon.
Yeah.
One of my favorite descriptions of fear is like when Mulan is trying to scare off these warriors, and so he hides behind this rock and he lights this big fire, and so he looks like this massive dragon. And they get freaked out and they run away. And then he comes out from behind the rock and he's like this little tiny lizard. I think it's actually Mulan, and she goes, "You are the guardian that my ancestors sent me. You're a lizard." And she drops him on the ground, and he's like, "Dragon, I am a dragon." Like, he tries to puff himself up so much. And I feel like that is totally fear. Fear tries to get behind something and puff itself up and make itself huge and say, "You have to listen and obey to me." And a lot of times when I feel like, no, I'm walking straight through you because I know exactly what you are. You're just a little lizard. And I think that's that moment of courage. But it takes everything not to pee my pants and want to run away.
Right.
It takes everything.
Yeah.
And I think to face the real issues of life, I think the parts for me where you have to recognize too, sometimes the choices you have to make, this is going to change my life forever. If I choose to walk through this, if I choose to be honest about this, if I choose to embrace this, there are repercussions. And the repercussions can change my life forever. But I feel like it's always worth it. I was thinking, like, why have courage? Why do you need to walk through fear? Like, what is the motivation behind it? Why not just stay where you are? And I think for me, it's like, but on the other side is something better, right? It's got to be something better on the other side. Or fear. I feel like I don't want to be controlled by that. So then I feel like I have to choose either to be controlled and stay where I'm at, or to walk through fear. To get to that thing that's sweet on the other side. Yeah. And that's actually where life is. That's actually like, I feel like who we've been created to be is that person that's on that other side. And fear is the big one, because I feel like, to me, courage and fear are always so contrasted. Fear is the one I feel like wants to keep you small, wants to keep you quiet, wants to keep you believing things about yourself that aren't true. Yeah. That was a good word, because I was like, ooh, courage. Why do you need it?
Yeah. And courage is not always, the puffing of the chest, right? A loud, gesture. Sometimes courage can be, I'm going to get up and go to work today.
Absolutely.
For those, I'm going to get out of bed. For those of you who struggle with anxiety and panic attacks, I commend you for those days when you choose to get out of bed and just go. Yeah.
Sometimes for me, it's, I'm going to get out of my pajamas today.
Right. I
might be out of bed, but I'm still in my sweats.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, through this process, for me, I've had that word come up a lot. Yeah. And I say that it is me saying yes to small things. Yeah. As in, yes, I am going to make a bundt cake. And I am going to capture this moment because I like to take pictures and videos. Or, yes, I am going to get out of bed and shower. But recently, those small yeses has become a bigger yes, right? So, you know what, Talisha? You've been wanting to travel for a while. Yeah. So I'm going to have the courage to not let fear take over, the fear of finance. Yeah. Right? Am I going to be able to afford, well, you're going to have to dip into your savings and all this other stuff, right? Over just thinking and over processing everything. Right. And then courage basically is like, there might be some things that you might have to rearrange. Yeah. But why not? Right. Why not just go for it? Right. Let's not make this a big deal. Yeah. why not just go for it? And that's how I've been learning how courage is for my life.
Yeah.
It's that subtle, like the subtle voice of, why not?
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like in movies and in my past gestures of courage, it's like I have the fear that I'm battling.
Yeah.
And I'm all like, oh,
Right.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it. I have to. And I don't feel like that's me right now in the
Right.
situation that I'm in.
Right.
It's just more like, why not?
Yeah.
This is something you've been wanting to do for a while.
Yeah.
Why not do it now?
Yeah.
You don't have any obligations. Don't listen to fear right now.
Right.
Make it work.
Right.
Make it work. So I've been enjoying this journey
Yeah.
of courage.
Yeah.
My last trip, I went to Vegas by myself, solo trip, all by myself. Hey, all by myself. You know what I mean? Everyone was like, wait, what? You're doing the trip by yourself? And I had to choose to not feed in to their fear.
Yeah. Or the intimidation of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? So there's no one that you're going with? No. It's a solo trip.
Yeah.
I need some me time.
Yeah.
And courage is basically, you can't have courage without having transparency.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes courage is the action of love.
Yes.
It's acting out
Yes.
love
Yes.
despite the fear that
Yeah.
sometimes can interfere with
Yeah.
what you want to do, how you want to live.
Yeah.
So, I did the trip, and it was one of the best trips I've ever done by myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't turn up or anything like that. I just really went so I can just escape from all the distractions
Yeah.
of my everyday living,
Mm-hmm.
my everyday space, my job,
Yeah.
people even. I know,
Yeah.
go to Vegas to avoid people, and there's a whole bunch of people. There's resorts, people. You got your own room, okay? And just have some me time. And I got to reflect and do photography, which I love to do, and just worship and pray,
Yeah.
meditate. I was able to do all of these things
Yeah.
because I had the courage to just say yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Just say yes.
And love yourself in that
Mhm.
process. And going on that trip too, it seems like you're able to take away all the expectations of, like, even being in your own house.
Mhm.
I feel like for me, it's the expectations of myself. Like, I know the floors are still dirty. I know that I need to do laundry. I know, and the list starts running in my head. And so all the expectations of home, and I live, I have a roommate, but I live by myself. So it's compounded. If you have a significant other, if you have kids, if you have other expectations on you, to be able to just go for a second and have the courage to love yourself, be transparent with yourself, and give yourself a chance to breathe. And just enjoy. I love how you've been saying recently, I just enjoy being with me. I love hanging out with me. And there is something that's so refreshing about that, of getting to know and love yourself.
Yeah.
Be transparent, fully seen, fully known, fully loved with yourself.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was really sweet. My first vlog with one of my dearest friends. I love you.
I love you.
So thank you so much, Megs, for
Thank
doing
you.
this with me.
Yeah.
And yeah, when it's posted, I'll let you know.
Perfect. I can't wait.
Bye.
Bye.